Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to our latest episode of the Serious Film Critics. My name is Sam.
And I'm David.
And it's good to be back. We're keeping this crazy train rolling. So we have an awesome episode for our millions of listeners out there. Today we are going to be talking about two very interesting films. One called Beyond the Gates. The other, you may have heard of it, Spring Breakers. And we've got some other stuff to go along with it. So we're glad to have you with us.
How you doing tonight, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good, man. We're watching... We've got The Happening by M. Night Shyamalan on mute in the background, so it's a perfect film to just highlight the evening.
Yeah, it looks like the guy is crying right now. I guess the construction workers are getting it because they destroy the environment or something.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen the last half.
Yeah, it's pretty memorable in just the worst way.
Yeah.
I like Mark Wahlberg is oh my god.
He's like a biology teacher or something, right?
He's a biology teacher, and he's just I think the premise of the movie is like the plants are like rebelling against humans or something, and releasing their toxins, and Zooey Deschanel's in it too, and it's really, really bad. Like a lot of unintentional humor.
Yeah,
in this one.
yeah. Yeah, there is.
And then here's Mark Wahlberg. He's in the back right now, teaching a class on biology in West Philly.
He's obviously really jacked still.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? How you doing? Yeah. So yeah, terrible movie. So
anyway, yeah.
Alrighty, folks. So for the first segment, we're just gonna go over some stuff we've been watching. So Dave, what have you been watching lately?
The only thing I really wanted to talk about was Deadpool, which I finally saw. I mean, when this came out, it was a freaking explosion.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was huge.
The
first
big movie.
Yeah, R-rated Marvel film. It was, finally brought Deadpool to the screen because he's a very interesting comic character. And I got to say, that movie started out so strong. I thought the scene in the taxi in the beginning was hilarious.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I definitely remember liking it from the get-go.
It was really funny. The whole scene on the highway was great. And then I feel like once they started doing the flashbacks, it really started falling apart for me. All of the time when he's getting experimented on, I thought that was just not good.
No.
So it really was uneven for me. And then finally it came back near the end. I feel like it got back on track.
Yeah, I also feel like that villain was pretty unmemorable.
Oh, yeah. What was his name?
I can't remember what his
Apparently
name was.
The chick is a villain. I forgot her name, but they don't really say. Yeah. And then the dude is a villain too, but it's his powers were unmemorable. He just couldn't feel pain or whatever.
Was that Colossus guy? No, that wasn't Colossus.
No,
that guy's name? Colossus?
Yeah, he was a hero.
He was a good guy.
Yeah. But no, the villain, I forgot his name was
that was the guy who experimented
Ajax.
on
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
right?
And he could just not feel pain. And then the chick had super strength.
I feel like a lot of Marvel movies have really weak villains, incredibly just don't remember them at all.
Well, the problem with Marvel is their villains gallery. It's mostly the good villains are X-Men and Spider-Man villains. So
yeah, which are on different contracts or whatever. I guess Spider-Man is with.
Now they have Spider-Man finally, and then X-Men they don't have still.
But yeah, I don't know. And the thing about Deadpool, I liked it. I enjoyed watching it the first time, but it's almost ever since then, it's just continually soured on me. Just the whole marketing campaign around it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Did you see that latest trailer for the new one?
Was it the one where he's he's in the phone booth?
Yeah, he's in the phone booth
yeah,
changing.
Yeah.
It's just and it's I think Ryan Reynolds is good in the role, but it's just you can just tell he is just loving it.
Yeah.
He is. It's beyond the point of self-referential. It's just literally he's just loving it.
It's
all
just
the attention.
overindulgent. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel every he's on so many TV shows now as Deadpool, and he's on. I feel he's on marketing campaigns for fast food places as Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's just come on, man. We get it. You're everywhere. You're a self-aware superhero, but he's just everywhere.
But I mean, it's also possible. It's the flip side. He feels like he was made to play this role, and now that he is, he's living it.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like that is almost the impression I got because they've been trying to get this movie made for a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, have you ever seen years ago they did a test shot? They did some test footage, and they actually did the highway scene before. And they shot it totally differently because this was years ago, and it was just it was an idea for what the movie would look like, and they kept it. They just reshot it. So they were trying to get this movie made for a long time.
Oh man,
yeah.
I did not know that.
So it's possible Ryan Reynolds really, I don't know, maybe he really knew the character. Obviously, he was trying to get the movie made for a long time.
Yeah,
he obviously does very well in the role.
He does. He's good as the part. I totally and I'm usually not a big Ryan Reynolds fan either. I don't normally like him in the stuff he does, but I gotta say he's good for that role. And I don't know, maybe it's just oversaturation or something, but I'm just getting to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, buddy, we get it. Like,
Yeah.
you're Deadpool. Like, I don't know. But yeah, and then that trailer, it's literally just like, I don't know. I just felt like the trailer had such a smug tone. Like, oh, look at me. I'm changing this phone booth. You're going to get a glimpse of my butt here. And
Yeah.
like, oh, turns out I didn't get to save the guy, and I'm just going to soliloquize over go on a soliloquy over his dead body. And it's just like, okay, like, we get it. You're funny. You're morally ambiguous. Like,
I mean, that is Deadpool, the character. I mean, I feel like part of the problem is like when you have like so many jokes, some of them just don't land.
That's
and
true.
I mean, that was the problem with Deadpool the movie, is there were a lot of jokes that didn't land.
Yeah, there were, but I don't know. So what did you think of it? Did you like it overall, or?
I liked it overall. I mean, I would
Yeah.
give it like a 7 out of 10. If it wasn't for like
I
those
think I'd agree.
flashbacks, I mean, if they could have kept it on track like they did in the taxi scene, I would
Yeah.
have given it a 10 out of 10 because it was so good in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm
But
with
it was
ya.
like it was almost like they saved a lot of their good material for the first few minutes.
Yeah, that opening was really, really good. I was shocked because I'm someone who I don't like a lot of these Marvel movies. I'm just like, ugh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like some of the movies they don't even stand on their own. It's literally like this movie is just here to connect to this movie.
Yeah,
and this movie,
you're right.
Which frustrates me so much. But no, I liked it. I liked the first Deadpool movie, and I don't know. It's probably just me being like, I don't know, grumpy old person where it's like, oh, too much of this is,
I think that
souring
part
on
of the
it.
problem was like the massive reaction to it. Like everybody's like, "Oh, it's an R-rated Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Rejoice!" And they were just like going nuts. They were acting like he just crapped all over everything in existence. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's good. I liked it, but let's take it down a notch. I'm sure the next movie is probably not going to perform nearly as well at the box office. I'd be willing to
Yeah.
bet.
I don't know. It's do you know when that's coming out? Is that coming out?
I don't know actually. I don't think it's this year.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't think
next
so
year.
either.
We have
But
to look into that. We should know that.
we should know that. Well, we are experts. Maybe we do know that. We're
Yeah.
just,
We'll let you know.
We want the listeners to look it up for themselves. It's important for them to do that. So, what have I been watching? I watched The Prestige the other day,
yeah.
which I've seen before, but it's been a while. I'm not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan, as I don't think you are either. But
I am not, for sure.
I actually think this might be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I actually kind of like this one. Yeah, it was good. Christian Bale didn't super annoy me in this one the way he does sometimes. Like, I actually found it enjoyable. Michael Caine was good. Being Michael Caine in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The twist at the end was a little. I don't know if you remember, but
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it
No.
before? Oh, it's worth checking out. Yeah, basically, it's like Christian Bale is like a magician in, I guess, the 1800s, and he's rivals with Hugh Jackman, who's also a magician, and they're like basically the whole movie is just them one-upping each other, and I guess they're in London or whatever. And Christian Bale is like the more talented magician in terms of his techniques and like his skill, but Hugh Jackman is more of like a showman. So it's kind of their rivalry where Hugh Jackman will do a performance and like steal something from Christian Bale, but he'll pull it off better and like make it look better. So then Christian Bale's jealous and he'll come up with something new, and it's pretty good. It's got some interesting visuals, and I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit. Probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, he's definitely made some movies we are not fans of.
No, not at all. One of these days we'll get into that. We'll probably do like a Christopher Nolan episode, and
Yeah. Stick around because that's going to be an episode with a
that'll
lot
be
of profanity.
that'll be an episode for sure. A lot of 4-letter words dropped in that one. What else have I been watching? I watched Mulholland Drive too.
yeah.
Have you ever seen that
I
one?
haven't seen that one either.
Yeah, that's
Heard a lot of good things.
David Lynch. I actually really like that one. Probably my favorite David Lynch movie. It's Naomi Watts plays an actress in L.A. and basically she gets off the plane and she's like this, just chipper, like perky, like super likable character, and she just goes on this like winning streak of auditions, like just gets is about to get all this huge movie role and stuff, and then there's all this other weird Lynchian stuff like that, initially doesn't make sense. There's one scene where like out of nowhere these two characters having lunch at a diner, and then this one talks about a dream he's been having about like this man behind the wall, and then they walk out and it's like the volume goes way down, you can barely hear what they're saying, and they look behind the wall, and then this like man just comes out, and it's like this creepy looking guy, and then he goes back in, and then the guy faints, and like it doesn't bring it up for the rest of the movie, but it's pretty good.
That seems to be a big thing with his movies, is like you have like kind of like normal stuff on the surface and then like a bunch of weird shit going on underneath.
It pretty much is. It's like, the whole everything isn't as it seems
Yeah.
mentality that goes with a lot of his movies, but definitely a good one. Check it out. So, anything else?
Man, I've been watching some stuff. I can't think of any of it right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
Whatever.
The Happening, obviously.
Yeah, we're watching The Happening. I've seen most of this, and that's all I need to see.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's not even well shot. Like,
yeah,
it just looks like, I don't know, cheap or something.
The effects look bad, and I'm pretty sure they use practical effects, and they just look terrible.
Mark Wahlberg looks weird somehow. Like, it looks like his forehead is huge. And it's just awkwardly big.
It's possible they shot it in a weird aspect ratio or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's probably a possibility. All right, so without further ado, let's move into these movies we've been watching. So our first movie is called Beyond the Gates. It's a 2016 release, and it is currently on Netflix. So if you haven't already, in preparation for this episode, check it out. But Dave, you want to lead us into this?
All right. It's going to be interesting. So, let me take a look at my notes. Beyond the Gates, it's directed by Jackson Stewart. I don't know who he is. Stars Graham Skipper and Chase Williamson as brothers. And I guess basically, they're brothers and they're going back to their old parents' VHS store.
Yeah.
And their house, too. And I guess they're, closing it down or selling it. I don't know. Yeah. This movie, there's not a lot of plot to care about in this movie. It starts with a flashback. Yeah, we're going to do a detailed synopsis here, which is what we always do if you've listened to this before.
And you have.
Yeah, it starts with they're this home movie. I guess they just bought their VHS store and they're opening it. And it's they're all happy, and then all of a sudden the dad just looks kind of weird, oh shit. There's something sinister going on.
Yeah.
So it opens.
Music changes too, where it kind of hints at something nefarious.
Let me get back
in
to
the background.
Notes.
Oh, you're good.
Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So it opens after that. This is how I knew I was gonna dislike this film right off the get-go. There's a really long take of the first brother. I don't remember what his name is.
Oh God.
I think one of them's name is.
I remember one was Johnny Boy, but I don't think that's.
I think the other one was Gordon.
Gordon.
Maybe.
That sounds. It was a G name. Let me.
Yeah, you look it up. Anyway, so the first brother, he's sitting in the car, and it's a very long take of him just sitting in the car looking upset. But it's right off the get-go, this guy was not a very good actor. So he's waiting to meet his brother who's late. And his brother, he wears black glasses. He's obviously the straight and narrow type. And his brother rolls up in this old beater muscle car. He's got a jacket from Taxi Driver on.
Yeah,
he's obviously cool, laid back, but doesn't really have his shit together.
Yeah.
So they meet up and they go into the old VHS store and start going through the stuff. And they are basically, I guess, they're going to sell everything off, sell the store. And then the first brother, we will get his name in a minute here.
Hang tight, everybody.
He gets a call from his girlfriend who's coming to meet him there, and he goes back to his parents' house where he's going to start living. And his girlfriend, whose name is Margot, I remember that.
And the name is Gordon. Good call.
So Gordon is the straight and narrow type?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so
John
you might even have to help me with the synopsis. All right. Yeah, they go back to the house.
I'm here too, yeah.
Yeah, they go back to the house, and she meets him there. One of the pictures falls, it breaks, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah,
I guess
you
my
just get
jackass
an eerie vibe kind of going on, something's not quite right.
Yeah.
Even when you come in, the dust motes in the house just make it seem like
it's an old
something's
house,
a little off.
But it's got the old wood paneled CRT TV. You know, it's very 80s retro. This entire movie,
very 80s.
This entire movie is basically 80s.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
He goes there. His girlfriend meets him, and she's like, "Oh, show me around." And he's like, "Oh, this place sucks." So he takes her out. They go to some bar, and his brother and some guy. I think
his name was Hank.
Hank, maybe. Yeah, he's a dick. I don't know. He's like a loan shark or something. Or his brother just owes him money. Anyway, they come up.
Just a bad dude.
Yeah, he's just an overall
likes to cause trouble.
He comes over and he's like, hey guys, what's up? Your brother owes me money. I think he owed him money.
Something like that.
I think he owed him money. So they sit down. He starts messing with Gordon. He wants to order drinks. Gordon is like, "Oh, I don't drink anymore," and we'll get more into this later.
Oh yeah.
So finally, they're like, Gordon tries to act tough. He looks the opposite of tough. He gets up with Margot and leaves, and his brother, John Boy, stays there with his friend Hank, and they start drinking. So he goes back to the house. He starts cleaning up. There's a lot of long takes in this, not much happening. We see him again with the alcohol. He thinks about drinking, but he throws it away instead. Okay, let's see. Let me see. For some reason,
and then they pretty much get they get the key to the office right after that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Then he goes back and meets his brother at the VHS store again. They get the key to the office. They go in the office and they see they're like looking at all the old VHS tapes, and then they see like a this big board game, and it's called Beyond the Gates. And they're like, "Oh, cool! It's got like a VHS to go with it, and it's already in the VCR." It's like, "Oh, let's watch it." Yeah, bad shit's about to happen. They put it in, and there's like this chick, and it's supposed to be like they actually made games like this because there's a Star Trek one.
Yeah, I wasn't really familiar with those types of games, but
Those really exist.
Yeah,
they're usually horror games, and they like give a tape you play along.
Oh,
yeah, they're real, and it's like the woman's like talking to you and telling you what to do, and you play the game.
Yeah,
and she tells them to play, and they're like, fuck this, we're not gonna do this. This is stupid. So then they find a gun, which it was like a red herring. The gun didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Okay. What do they do after they get the tape? Do they go straight back to the house and start playing it again? Or
I think for a while they just kind of like play it on and off. They play the game on and off, and then Gordon has like nightmares at night. Like he'll wake up and see a shadow in the room, or like he'll hear something, hear footsteps walking around, and then it always pretty much seems like the next morning at some point they'll play the game.
Yeah, so they go back and they start playing the game with Margot, like, oh, this will be fun. And then he notices one of the pictures got replaced with a picture of the woman on the tape. Mm-hmm. So then, for some reason, they decide to call the police. That's what I remember next. They call the police over, and
that was their train of thought.
Yeah, for some reason, and I guess the game mentions their father or something.
Oh yeah, the woman says like, if you want to get your father's soul back, come play the game.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, this is some serious shit.
So they call their
police officer,
their doofy buddy at the local.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot. He was in an earlier scene, but he didn't matter. He doesn't matter. He comes in and he can't see anything on the tape, and he writes it off as a joke. So then they keep watching the tape, and they're like, "Oh shit, shit's real." And then she tells them about the keys. I think. Yeah. They got to get like 4 keys to win the game.
Go beyond the gates.
And it's like the keys are like hidden. So they go to this weird oddity shop. Oh my god.
We'll get into this more later. This is one of my biggest problems with the movie at this oddity shop.
There's this weird ass dude. He's like telling them about the game because he sold them the game a really long time, like 1991, and they have to get a dagger from there. So John Boy steals it because that's what he's good at.
But I don't think they didn't know that they had to get a dagger though. He just stole it randomly.
Oh really?
Yeah. That's another huge problem I had with it.
I mean, the movie was seriously losing. I'm sorry, this synopsis sucks, but the movie was losing me at this point. I was like, this plot
You're struggling.
I was struggling. Okay, so they go back, and then I think they find the first key is like in the garden or something. It's the doll.
Yeah.
I don't remember where where did they find the doll?
It was like buried. Randomly, there's an X on the game board, so they just decide to go to the X in their it's in their backyard.
Oh, and they dig it up.
And they find the doll there.
Yeah, so they dig up a doll, and they're like the key's inside the doll, and they start tearing open the doll, and it turns out the doll is Hank. It's like a voodoo doll for Hank. So like this is. Hank's in this bar and he's like about to like rape or beat his ex-girlfriend or something, and then like randomly he just like starts exploding because they're like cutting him up, and then they like so he like stabs him and he gets stabbed and all his blood's gushing out, and then they like reach in and rip out his intestines to get the key. So that happens in real life, and of course the woman gets blamed for murder. Like that's what she did. She like tore him to pieces like a bear.
Like were there other people at this bar?
Yeah, there were other people.
There were other people in there, but somehow she got blamed for it.
Yeah, because they're still not convinced anything's going wrong. Oh yeah, and then there's blood in the doll, but they're still not convinced anything is like going wrong with the game yet, even though like this is clearly not something that can really happen. So then I think they see the cards, right, that show the keys.
Yeah,
and it's like they're like tarot cards, and they look cheesy as shit.
Yeah, they really.
And
do.
Like one's the noble,
and they all have characters on them that conveniently fit into people in their own lives.
Yeah, and I mean like the pictures are like like perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the noble is literally the cop holding a shotgun. It's like a picture of him as a drawing.
It pretty much
It's
is.
not clever at all. I'm getting
it's not.
distracted by the lions about to eat this dude.
Oh man.
Like, let's watch this dude get fucked up.
Yeah, hold on. There's some happenings going on in the happening right now.
Oh, it's not even gonna show it.
Oh man.
Now he's got his arm ripped off. This looks so bad.
I don't even remember this scene.
Yeah, I don't either.
And look at Mark Wahlberg just acting the crap out. What's going on?
He's trying.
What's going on there? Oh my god! Oh my god!
We're gonna lose our audience big time.
Okay,
so we're at the keys. They got the first key from Hank, the wife beater. So then they see the other cards, and there's 3 more. One of them is the next one. I think is the cop, the noble. So then for some reason, the cop just comes looking for him. Do you remember? Was Hank his brother?
No, it was like the woman in the video game just gave them like a little briefing, like the nobleman will come and he will make a choice of life and death, and then like seconds later the cop
and he just literally just like kicks down the door. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. He's got a shotgun. So then they're like, oh shit. So they run behind some cardboard boxes, and he's shooting the cardboard boxes, which are stopping the bullets. God damn.
Yeah, this is
yeah.
this
So
is
anyway, then
something.
they find another doll. Man, we're probably fucking this plot up so bad. They find another doll, and it's got a key in the head, and they're like, all right, pull the key out. They pull the key out, and his head explodes. So he's done. That's their 2 for 4 so far.
Yeah, they're this is also apparently the hardest game ever in the world that no one's ever completed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nobody has ever completed this game. It's either death or completion, and you know.
They're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
so
they're
far.
not doing too bad. So anyway, then they are like after this, they're kind of traumatized, and they like start doing normal shit again.
Yeah.
Then this gets back to like the adult issues. So they like start dreaming. The whole time he's constantly having like nightmares.
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon. So then I don't remember which scene it is. First, there's a scene where he goes to bed and he wakes up and he's like always seeing like this weird deformed figure in his sleep. And finally it ends up being real and they have to kill him.
Yeah.
So him and his brother, like, you know, he gets the bat and his brother's like
His
stabbing
brother
him.
comes up with a dagger and gets him in the back. And
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty good at killing stuff.
they're really good at killing stuff.
I mean, they kill the shit out of that thing.
Yeah, that thing is and that thing looks pretty nasty too. And then they just take it down pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, he like gets
They've
it.
done that before. Like the Winchesters from Supernatural
Yeah,
or
I
something.
mean, they take care of business.
Yeah, they do.
So then there's a scene where John Boy and Margot are eating dinner, and Margot tells John Boy the sob story about how.
Oh man, this is something else I'm gonna have to get to.
Yeah,
but-
I know why. See, she tells John Boy why Gordon stopped drinking, and apparently one day he had too much to drink, and he grabbed her wrist a little too hard.
Just a little too hard.
A little too hard. So he immediately apologized and quit drinking forever. And her wrist healed up immediately. Well, 6 months or 6 weeks later or something. I don't know what the fuck he did to her wrist. But, you know, from that point on, he never drank again because, God forbid, you like... I mean, that's fucked up, but God, I mean, she acted like he, like, kicked her teeth out.
I think it was clearly, like, I feel like the writers probably came up with this idea, and then they're like, all right, what do we do here? Like,
yeah, we can't make him a bad guy.
He's got to, you know, what can we do?
All right, we'll get back more into this. Yeah. And then, I guess, Gordon overheard it, and he didn't want to talk, so... They all go back to bed again, and then Margot decides to like cross into the gates or something.
Yeah, she goes beyond the gates for whatever reason.
So then they put the VHS tape again, and every time they put the VHS tape in, the woman like talks to them. She like almost acknowledges what they said, but not totally. She like doesn't converse.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to ask her a pointed question, and she'll give you an answer.
And she's like, all right, you know, you gotta like go save their souls. So you gotta like cross over. So they go get I don't remember how they get in there.
I think they just like she just goes in and the gates are open. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Because they tried to go in once and there was like a dude there. And I think that was the dude they killed later. Yeah, I forgot about this. There's a little fucking gate in their basement.
Yeah.
That's the gate.
It's just a gate in their basement. It literally is like it's like 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
Looks like, you know, I don't know, so a prop you get like the spirit store.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So they like, all right, I don't remember how, but they cross over the gate. They go in there and then like they wake up and they're like in the same house, but it's like Bizarro World or something. So then they immediately have to get to killing because there's like a bunch of like the people they already killed. They got to kill again.
Yeah.
So they kill them. You know, they
pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, they like first it's like Hank, so he gets knifed pretty good.
Yeah.
He gets like knifed in the spine. Then I think is it the cop again they got to kill?
Yeah, the cop's there again.
And then finally their dad shows up because apparently his soul is trapped in the game. And then they knife him too.
Yeah,
he
gets
gets
why they
shivved.
needed the dagger.
Yeah,
or something.
And then after they kill him, he is all of a sudden normal again. They're like, "Oh, you saved his soul."
Yeah, and he's.
And then they're like, "Okay." They go back over and like, "You win the game. Your dad's soul is saved, but he's not coming back to life."
Yeah, so that's it. You know, at least they freed him, and then I guess Margot's was free to come back.
Yeah,
too.
they had to save her. I don't remember what they did to save her. What were the last 2 keys? Was it just?
I don't even think they got the last 2.
I don't.
I
maybe
think I think they just There weren't 2 last keys.
Because there were 4 keys.
There were 4 keys, but Margot was the 3rd key, and she allowed them to enter the
Oh
world.
yeah,
And that was
maybe
it.
the dad was the 4th key.
Well, the card said the father, so he was, but
okay.
it didn't really.
So I guess they just had to. Yeah, basically, they get the key, you just kill somebody. This is the game. This is this intricate evil game. Just kill people.
And usually, for most of them, there's an item that you just have to minimally interact with the item, and that kills them.
Yeah, like the one guy, they just pull the key out of the doll, and his head explodes. Like, wow, that was difficult.
Yeah,
like, how the fuck do you lose this game? I guess it, not
it's like
everybody.
the world's easiest game. Like,
I guess not everybody's as efficient at killing.
It sucks because it's obviously the moral ramifications of doing these acts are terrible. But in terms of actually just doing them, it's not hard. Like, especially if you're put in a situation where you're about to die.
Yeah.
Like if you're backed up against the wall and your life depends on it. I mean, the decisions I don't think are that hard.
Yeah, especially like the guy was gonna kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, okay, well, either we die or we pull this thing out and you're dead.
I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It kind of
yeah,
just ends.
yeah, it ends there.
Oh, and then the brothers like hug or whatever, and they're
whatever.
That was another thing throughout the whole movie is the brothers like were awkward with each other.
Yeah.
Progressively better with like, they did like that really awkward stage looking handshake at first, and then later in the movie when they'd been through some stuff, they had like a little bit better handshake, and at the end of the movie they hug, and it's like, oh.
The whole point of the movie was supposed to like mix adult issues with like the paranormal, but boy did it do a fucking shitty job of that.
All right, so that's the movie. What are your overall impressions?
Yeah, if you're still listening, thanks, because that was a struggle.
Yeah,
it was a struggle to watch. You should know.
Weirdly though, on my end, I gotta say I think it was. You ever had one of those days where you watch a movie that you don't think is very good, but you're kind of into it?
Yeah,
that's how it was for me.
I wasn't.
I was watching it at the theater. I work at a theater in Lancaster, and we had a double show that day, so we had like a 2-hour break in between shows. So I just like sat in this little office and watched the movie, and I don't know why. I think it was just because I was tired from the day. I was happy to be through the first show, and I was kind of in a good mood, and like the office was nice and dark, and I was watching it on my phone, and I was into it. Like I had a lot of issues with this movie, but it's one of those movies where the more I thought about it afterwards, like I was like, wow, that was not a good movie. Like,
for me, it was like I couldn't stay with the movie because I thought first of all the plot was like basically non-existent. Like you didn't even really give a shit about the characters. I didn't know what the hell they were doing with the game. Like, oh, your dad's soul is trapped in the game.
Yeah, it was really poorly explained.
I mean, you had no reason to care about these characters, and it was just I had so many problems with these movies. Let's just start. Where do you want to start?
How about firstly, did you like anything about it? Were there any things you liked?
I mean, first I thought I would like, because I like 80s inspired outrun music.
Yeah,
I thought I would like that, but it's like they didn't even do a good job with that.
Yeah.
Like the soundtrack or the score wasn't very good. There wasn't even like a lot of old 80s homages. It was like the VHS tapes, the game, but for the most part, it was obviously very low budget.
Yeah,
there was not that many throwbacks to like old stuff.
Yeah, no, there really wasn't.
I can't think of a single thing I liked about this movie. I thought the guy Hank was a decent actor.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He's actually in Justified. Have you seen that?
I knew I recognized him.
Yeah, I
somewhere.
couldn't figure. I had
I've
to look
seen
it up.
him before.
He's a pretty decent actor.
I think I've seen him in other stuff too. I didn't mind. I didn't like some of the costuming choices, but I didn't mind the other brother, John. I thought
he was better than. I
thought
Gordon.
he was okay. I did like the lady in the video game. I don't know what it was. I was kind of into that. I don't know.
I think she played her role well.
I mean, she has a very small part, but she's kind of this like just mysterious, hypnotic kind of figure in this game that like guides him through it. I was actually kind of into that. Man, again, it's like when I think about it, I can't think of many things I liked. I feel like I just know that I was kind of vibing with it to a degree when I was watching it, but
just like a little delirious.
Yeah, a little delirious, a little just like, all right, watching a movie, like it was kind of. But yeah, so yeah, let's jump into the issues we had with it.
Okay, let's go down the line like with piece by piece.
Okay,
acting. What do you think of the acting?
Not good. The one brother I thought was brutal.
Gordon, he was terrible.
Brutal. And the problem with him is he had all the emotional lifting to do in the movie, like
he was struggling with alcoholism.
Yeah, and he was struggling with alcoholism. He was struggling with, I guess, abusive tendencies.
Yeah.
And he just
he didn't sell it.
No, he didn't sell it at all. He reminded me of like a bigger, like worse acting like Elijah Wood or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was just not good.
I think first of all, I think he was miscast.
he was miscast.
But even if he was not miscast, he was a bad actor.
yeah, it just wasn't good. It was a brutal performance.
Like his character development. First of all, it tried to develop these characters and did such a bad job.
It did a really bad job, and I think, maybe that's why I like the other brother better, because I feel like he was just kind of like, he had just a much simpler story.
Yeah,
just kind of.
It's easy to develop. He's just like he's a screw up.
He's just a screw up, and he's like a laid back guy. And I thought he played that. Oh, I thought he was decent. Like I didn't mind.
Yeah,
it. He was okay. I hated the fact that they gave him like a Travis Bickle jacket to wear.
Yeah,
and they even made there's even a line in there where they're like, "Cool it, Bickle."
Yeah, he's pointing the gun at him.
Oh God, it was just awful.
Yeah.
But the worst was this guy working at the magic shop.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This guy was like so over the top that it was just ridiculous. Like, and it wasn't even like funny bad. It was just like, oh.
He had like the goofy accent. Like he was like the stereotypical weird magic shop guy.
Yeah, he really was. And there's just the way he talked too. It was just so obviously like a put on voice. He was like, they go to him at one point because he sold their father the game, I guess, so many years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do we need to do? And he's just like, how about you just play the game? You just need to play the game. Like, he just had like this voice that, oh my God, I just couldn't even like, I just started cracking up in the worst way when he ever was on the screen.
I mean, he only had like, I think it was 2 or 3 scenes. He's in the end too. There's like another guy buying the game. That was stupid.
Yeah, at the end of the very, very end of the movie, someone else buys the game and he's like, have fun or whatever. Yeah, it was just brutal.
The girl was, I guess she was passable.
Yeah, she was okay.
She was okay.
I mean, she didn't really have much to do.
Yeah.
Like she was, especially having to work with Gordon there.
Yeah, I mean, he's, he would drag you down to his level easily.
Yeah, pretty easily. So, I'm just trying to think some of the lines they had to get.
Well, I think we should get into the writing.
Oh, the writing
was probably the worst aspect. It was so like I think my main example was the dinner scene where she's like giving like this. He grabbed my wrist a little too hard, like this is like. First of all, this guy is like this like violent alcoholic,
and they build it up the whole time.
Like you would think he threatened to kill her. Or something.
There's no pay. That's the payoff for this whole thing, and it's not a payoff. Like the whole movie, they're like when he initially interacts with her, like he invites her over or whatever in the very beginning of the movie, and he's just like, I really fucked up big time, didn't I? And she's like, yeah, you did. We'll get through it. We're gonna work past this, and they just keep hinting at it, like. Obviously when they're at the bar, he doesn't drink anymore, and he's just.
And we don't want to minimize domestic violence.
No,
not
but
I mean, they built this up like he fucking tried to kill her or something. Like
yeah, exactly.
Insanity.
It's not that and I don't even think it's necessarily what he did. That's like it's just the way they built it up.
I know.
And then the way she describes it too.
Yeah,
it's like
a little too hard. And then he immediately apologized and never drank again. The problem was solved instantly. That's the best part is like he's supposed to be struggling with alcoholism, but it's like the first time he like went to the edge, he never went back ever. Like this guy is like a model citizen again. Yeah. Like he didn't have problems with alcoholism. He's done.
Yeah, it's
like they were afraid to make this character like even remotely on. He wasn't likable because he was a dick. Because he was just annoying.
Yeah,
he was a dick to his brother.
And that's the thing is like. If they're going to make, I think it would have been a much more satisfying storyline had they made the character a little more unhinged.
Yeah. Like he was still struggling with it. Like he wasn't. They tried to make it look like he was still struggling with it, but he obviously wasn't.
Yeah, like he was just the most like straight-laced, button-up guy. And again, it's not defending him. It's just the bad writing in the movie that just did not know how to build that up whatsoever.
Like he's not a complex character. Like they made him very black and white. Like he had one incident of violence and then he never had a problem again.
Well, and the thing is there's never, I think the biggest issue is there's never any sequence where he confronts that fear and gets over it. He's actually very violent throughout the movie.
Yeah,
like,
he is.
He kills the hell out of these monsters.
Oh, yeah. When it comes down to kill Zombie Dad, he's just fucking him up.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue is there's no moment where he has to confront that issue in himself and like get over it. Or it's literally just like that dinner scene where she's like, he grabbed me a little too hard, and then
he never had a problem again. Like it's like there's a scene where he has to throw the bottle away, and he picks it up, and it's not like he has like a flashback or he struggles, he just throws it in the trash.
He literally just throws it away like it's no issue anymore.
It's like they tried to develop his character like in this way, and then what they did was they were like, okay, we're not going to make our golden boy have any like complex, bad issues.
Yeah.
He fucked up and now he's a good guy again.
Yeah, like if they had done it right, that could have been a complex character that, at the end of the movie at some point they could have paid off the fact that, hey, he's confronted with these demons and has to get over them, but it's literally just like never addressed at the end of the movie.
It's just not a problem.
He's just doing work on zombies from beyond the gates, and that's about it.
Which is another issue I have with the writing. Like, these guys do not struggle in any way, at any point in the movie.
No. The setup for the game is like, this is going to be the hardest game you've ever played. Like, no. And they go to the guy at the magic shop, and they're like, has anybody ever beaten the game? And he's like, no.
Yeah, no.
So and then the game, and then these brothers just kind of like navigate their way through without much difficulty. Like,
yeah. I mean, they're like, they have to fight the zombie in the room. They kill the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they stab him like 20 times and then like splatter his brains with a bat. I mean, he like doesn't even get him on the ropes. Like, they just take him out.
These guys are never on the ropes. Like, maybe like at the very end when they're in Beyond the Beyond the Gates Bizarro world, they're on the ropes for like 2 seconds, and then they're just back on.
Yeah,
Margot's good too.
Yeah,
she's killing. She saves him at the end and kills the.
They're finally on the ropes, and then Margot just saves them.
Yeah, like everybody is a good fighter in this movie, and they never,
Yeah,
it's almost like they just didn't have like a choreographer on set or something.
Probably
or
not.
Didn't feel like dealing with it, and we're just like, all right, let's just. Let's just worry about like cool blood effects or like organs spilling out of people when we kill them, like, because they definitely invested in that.
Yeah, they really played up the blood. Like there was like gallons of blood splatter. I guess that was supposed to be like an homage to the '80s with like the splatter films.
Yeah,
but I mean, they still make films like that.
Another thing I didn't understand is the initial scene was from 1992 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So this is set in modern day.
Yeah.
Then because they're older, but. Did anyone have like a cell phone or like?
Yeah, he did. Because remember, he called her. He got a call on his iPhone.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, he got a call. But they really like minimalize modern technology. I feel like.
Yeah.
And it also like, how would that father's video store still be in business? Like, didn't he just sell VHS tapes?
Yeah. That was another point they made, and I guess it was supposed to be like kind of like quirky, like, oh, he didn't believe in the staying power of DVDs or something. Well, that was a fucking mistake. Good job, you idiot.
But it's amazing how his shop was still in business like that.
The thing is, but like, how do we even know how long his shop had been closed? Because maybe it had been closed a while, and they were just getting ready to clean it out and get rid of it.
I guess.
I don't know because I don't know how long. I don't know how long he'd been dead. And I don't know how long his store had been
I think at one point they said 7 months.
Oh, okay.
And I
so
guess
maybe
they
the
said
store.
His dad had disappeared before. Because that was another thing. I didn't really understand the rift between the brothers. Because there's like this manufactured rift between them that they never really get into. It's kind of like hinted at the bar that the dad went away. And that the dad went away and that I guess Gordon like wasn't there for John when the dad went away. And but it's not handled well because then Gordon is like, well, Dad's disappeared plenty of times, and it's like, what? But then they just don't really get into that, and it's just really poorly developed. The brothers' relationship is really poorly developed. I felt like.
I mean, the characters just are not developed well, and they tried. First of all, this movie is really short. I mean, it was like not even an hour and 20 minutes.
I think that's another thing I kind of like that made me kind of be along with it. Is it was over so fast. I was like, yeah, okay.
That's the worst part for me. Is it was a short movie, but it felt like a slog.
It felt like a slog
because there were. I mean, getting to the next point, like the directing, I feel like whoever directed this thought he was really good because it was like it had the long takes. That's a trademark of like a good film. I feel like there's a lot of long takes, and it had a lot of long takes, but they were shitty.
Yeah,
like the take of him in the car. Like if you had an interesting movie with a good actor, that would have been like, hey, cool, this is cool. Yeah. But it was just like this Gordon's like looking like an idiot. I mean, there were tons of long takes. There was lots of scenes with like not a lot of dialogue. I mean, like when he was cleaning the house.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot was going on, but it was like it showed it anyway because slow movies are good movies. Like it was very slow paced.
It was. It was pretty slow paced. For a while there, it just meandered where it would literally just be like nighttime. Gordon has a dream. The next day they play a little bit of the game and then like.
Yeah, I mean, and for such a short film, you wouldn't think that this was even possible, but it happened.
No, yeah, there is definitely a meandering section of this movie for sure. I didn't mind this. I kind of liked that main score.
I mean, I thought it was okay, but
they didn't really play it much.
Yeah,
they
didn't
play
really
it at the very
play
beginning. So I Like when the movie first started, I was kind of into it. I was like, okay, this is I like this. I'm digging this score a little bit, and like, but yeah, it just I don't know. There's just not much I like. Again, it's like thinking about it. I can't really think of much good to say about it.
All I can think is that I hated it. I actually hated it a lot. Now that I've had time to cool down, I was like fucking mad.
Oh, really?
I was like, this pile of dog shit. I wasted my time watching this shit. Now I'm like, all right, it was just a shitty movie.
Yeah.
A really shitty movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just I feel like people are just riding this nostalgia wave from the 80s right now.
I mean, just if you take it to It Follows, it's exactly
it is, and
the
like
same
Stranger
thing.
Things, people are.
And I mean,
did you
some
ever
of
watch Stranger
No,
Things?
I guess that's good.
I wasn't. I think it's vastly overrated. I think that's another movie that's or TV show that's just capitalizing off that 80s nostalgia that is so prevalent right now. And it's not a bad show. I would say Stranger Things is more competently made than like this movie, but it's still like it's just so overrated, and it's so like directly lifting from other movies from that time period.
Yeah.
Like not coming up with original ideas, like literally just copying. But,
You're right.
That's a review for another day, but just.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but I mean, I feel like just going back to that, I did the same shit where it's like we're gonna ride this wave, and the movie will be good, and no,
I agree. Anything else we have on this one? I'm trying to.
I mean, I don't think that this movie's even really worth talking about.
All right, so final thoughts. We're pretty much covered here. What are you gonna rate this thing, Sir Dave?
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. All right. I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna go 5.5 out of 10.
Right.
For me, it was watchable. Again, it's one of those movies like if you're really in the mood to watch something quick, like well, in some cases it may not be quick, but if you're in the mood to just check something out, I guess possibly give it a shot. But just be prepared because there's gonna be a lot that you're not gonna like in it. One other thing about it too is I feel like they just didn't have any budget for
clearly
for a like.
Production
because
design?
that's one production design, like that's one thing that could have been cool about this movie is when they go beyond the gates, like if they had,
so
it's
cheesy.
literally just the basement with like a strobe looking light like in the corner. It's literally the exact same, like with like this day glow looking like strobe light just in the corner, like giving the whole basement like a purpley tinge.
I mean, it literally
with
looked
some
like
fog, too.
they went to Spirit Halloween store and got like some cheesy foam gates and put them in there. It was like, this is all we can afford, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
And maybe they thought it would work because I guess like, some old horror movies had like shoestring budgets. And
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like it's I hate to knock it for the budget, but it's like they just could have. I don't know.
They could have tried
done something different than that because it literally was just the basement with a strobe light down there, and it was like, okay, that's beyond the gates.
Yeah,
we've been waiting the whole movie to figure out what's beyond the gates, and it's literally just our world with like a purple tinge.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, so not the best. If you're in a great mood, maybe check it out, but can't exactly recommend it, especially on Dave's part. So that completes that one. Our next review should be a little more interesting. We're going to be talking about the 2012 feature Spring Breakers, directed by Harmony Korine. So, Dave, let's jump into this thing.
Yeah, this is going to be a long episode because we have a lot more to say about this.
That's all good.
All right. So this is Spring Breakers starring James Franco, Ashley Benson. It had like all the like famous like
Selena
girls,
Gomez.
all the famous girl stars of the time, which was 5 years ago. God, I can't believe this was already 5 years ago.
I know. Yeah, that was 5 years ago. That's scary.
So this movie opens up with like a montage, which is the whole movie is basically a montage. We'll get more into that later. A montage of like crazy spring break shenanigans. It's like, playing like dubstep, and it's like showing like all the fun young people having fun on the beach. There's lots of boobies, lots of like people pouring beer on women.
Yeah, just hedonism central.
Oh yeah. So finally it gets past that, and we starts showing the girls are on college. There's 4 of them. I guess there's a group of 4, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's showing them like doing school stuff. So basically it shows the one side of the girls, they like to party, and they're like in class like goofing off like, oh, we want dick.
Yep.
Big time.
Yeah.
And then it shows the other girl's name
That's literally what the drawing said too.
Yeah. And then the other girl's name is Faith. It's Selena Gomez. The names are like so unimportant in this.
Yeah,
I don't even know any.
I can't remember any of the names.
I think there was like Cat, or it started with a C.
I can't remember. I just know Selena Gomez was Faith.
Yeah, she was the most important character.
She was religious, so
yeah. And then it contrasts. It shows her like Bible study, and it's got like the really intense buff pastor. Yeah. He's like, "Can I get an amen?
Are you ready to accept Jesus? Is he in you?"
Yeah, and then it's like they're planning on going away for spring break, and it's like, oh, they meet up. They don't have enough money. They have like $300, and then they're like, they're still there. Spring break's going on. They're like, we got to get out of here. So they get together. They steal their professor's car. They get like a gun, a fake gun, and some hammers, and they go rob like a chicken restaurant or something.
Yeah, something.
A very violent robbery.
Oh yeah,
they're fucking insane.
Yeah, they have like mallets, like smashing the tables.
Yeah,
telling people to get on the ground.
So they get all this money, and they get on a bus. They go down to
where was it, like Miami or something?
I think it was St. Petersburg, because the police car said St. Petersburg.
Oh,
but I mean, it was around.
I assumed it was like Miami.
I mean, it was somewhere in Florida. It was somewhere near a shitty. I might have been. Is St. Petersburg near Jacksonville?
Yeah,
because I mean, it was obviously near a very shitty part of Florida.
Because
they go there later.
Yeah, that's true.
So they go down there. Yeah, we'll get into the way this film is shot, because this film is shot in a very strange way. It's kind of disorienting.
It is.
It's very hard to follow the narrative at some points. There's like no main character anyway.
No.
They're going down. They go on the bus. They start partying hard as shit. Yeah. It goes more montages. They're on the beach. There's a scene where they're on the beach, and there's a rapper named Alien. It's James Franco.
That's James Franco. He has a grill, dreadlocks.
Yeah, he fucking looks amazing in this movie. He is a
money sign tat on his neck.
That's where we first meet Alien. He's a white rapper. They party more and more. They get like scooters. They ride those around. It shows that scene a lot. It comes back to that. Does. And then
repetition is a big key in this
huge. Movie. And then a lot of contrast with like repeating from at one point to another. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they have like a long scene with a lot of repetition in the pool. Where they're talking about like spring break forever. Like this is what our lives are supposed to be like. And it's I think it's supposed to be ironic in a way.
Yep.
So then they party more and more crazy parties. Finally, they have a party where they're like snorting coke off this naked woman, and they all get arrested. And since there were narcotics there, they are like either pay the fine or spend 2 days in jail. Now they're like all upset. They want to go home.
This was a mistake.
Yeah. Now they're starting to like not have so much fun. But they get bailed out by Alien and his two dudes.
The twins.
Yeah, the twins that apparently they're like. MO is DP.
Yeah, that's their MO, and they're not really introduced too much. He's just.
I don't think they have any.
James
lines.
Franco's just kind of gotta watch out for those twins.
Yeah, I'll keep a leash on them.
Yeah, James Franco's voice was so good.
Oh my god,
it's so ridiculous.
I wish we like could do his voice out.
Yeah, it was almost like just a southern like accent, but
like
just
southern
mixed
rapper
with like just like. Mumbling. I don't know.
His character was like inspired some way by this guy named Riff Raff. So if you look him up,
which I didn't know. That's interesting.
So he gets bailed out, and then they keep partying because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But now they're like partying with like some real scary looking people. Like they go into the ghetto. It's like they're partying with all these like really dangerous, scary people. They have like their pants around their ankles.
Yeah.
They're like, there's this one guy. He's like, why are you crying? We're just gonna go party.
Yeah, it's not. They're like, get over here and play some pool. Like,
yeah, like no,
I'm good.
So then they're like, this isn't fun. So then there's a long scene where I keep wanting to call him Gator for some reason. I don't know why.
Gator?
Yeah, I don't know what that's from.
James Franco?
Yeah, he looks like Gator.
He could be a gator.
Alien is talking
totally be a gator.
to Faith, and he's like, I like you. He says it like 10 times. I like you, and
Yeah, he repeats himself a lot.
But that's also the film.
Yeah, it is.
Literally repeating lines.
It is.
He tells her that he likes her, and because she's ready to go home. Finally, throughout the film, she's been calling her grandma, telling her how great of a time she's having, how she wants to bring her grandma down.
More the juxtaposition. And,
juxtaposition. That's the word I was looking for.
There it is.
Fuck. Don't know any of my film terms anymore.
Ah, you're good. That's a literary term too.
And finally, he's like, he's like almost threatening her. I guess he's like, I'm gonna stay with your friends. They're not coming with you. So finally, she does leave. So she's the first one down, and then there were 3.
Yeah.
And then they stay, and then they go to Alien's house, and he's got like he's a drug dealer. And he does all kinds of shit. He like robs people.
Yeah,
he's like
just
a fucking psychopath.
Just a bad dude.
But he doesn't really seem like he's like that hard of a dude, to be honest.
No, he really doesn't. He's kind of
especially at the end.
Yeah. There's definitely some scenes that hint to his, as he says, sensitive side.
Yeah.
But
there's a really good scene with that.
yeah, we'll get to that.
So then like they they get in. He basically, it seems like he's grooming the girls first of all to be like his harem of women.
Yeah.
And they kind of do become his harem.
Yeah.
And also to like help deal drugs
Help
with him and shit.
go about his day-to-day business, because I don't really, the twins are kind of like in and out. You don't really see them like
they don't really do anything. In fact, I was
like,
I think that they're like, well, let's get to that later.
Yeah,
With
we'll
the end, they like don't show up or something.
yeah, I was wondering where they were, but
I thought, all right. So yeah, they get into the business. They like start partying again. They start getting to like Gator a lot more. Not Gator, Alien. What is Gator from?
I don't know what that's from, but he could be a gator.
Yeah, I mean, he's from Florida. He looks
Gator
like
sounds. I mean, Alien. I guess Alien works too.
Yeah.
But Gator sounds pretty natural.
They have a nice scene where they rob a wedding. It's a fucking wedding. They rob.
And there's a slow-mo scene where James Franco just slams the guy's face into cake.
Oh, it's so
pretty
awesome.
good.
And then, actually, I really like it. It pretty much shifts the focus to Alien for a while.
Yeah.
And I really thought it was really interesting in this one. He's like explaining his life. And he's like talking about this guy, Big Archie. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And he's like, he used to be my best friend, and now he's like a rival drug dealer. And he basically like, they have a scene at the club where he's like talking to him. He's like, you need to stop dealing drugs because I'm the only drug dealer here.
Yeah.
So then they keep slinging dope, and then they get threatened by him. And then finally, there's a really good scene where Big Archie's like sitting in his house, his big ass house. He's like surrounded by people, and he's got his kids standing in his lap. And there's a gigantic pile of like weed sitting on the table. And he's like, Alien is like taking food out of my baby's mouth.
My baby needs to eat. My baby's hungry.
My baby's hungry. And he's like, has so much fucking money, obviously. So they decide they're going to like take care of Alien. So Alien and his girls are like, cruising around town.
As they do.
And it's like a fucking, what does he have, like a Firebird or something?
Some kind of.
It's a Camaro,
GT,
maybe?
Something.
I think it was a Camaro.
Yeah.
It was a
looks
shitty
like a
car.
Camaro, I think.
And then Big Archie rolls up in like his Lamborghini. So he's obviously more successful.
Yeah.
So he rolls up, and he threatens them, and then he drives off. And as he's driving off, he shoots at him, and one of the girls gets shot in the arm. So this is when she finally decides to leave.
Yeah, she's had enough.
Yeah. So there's a long scene where he's like comforting her, and then it's just him and his two girls, the two fucking craziest.
The two craziest ones, yeah.
So then there's like a scene where they basically like make him suck on the barrels of two guns, and that's when they fall.
I think that actually happened earlier.
Maybe it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the third chick around?
She wasn't with them though,
Okay.
so that's but. They've been the craziest two the whole time, so.
And that's when they finally like fall in love.
Yeah.
And then they basically like are his two sister wives.
Yep, pretty much.
So then they're
His
like
soulmates. As
yeah, his soulmates. And then there's a very good scene where he plays the piano. This was so unexpected, dude.
It was, man. I was on board too. Like they play what Britney Spears song
What
was
song
that?
is that called? It's like her most famous one, I think, because I hear it all the time.
Well, no, I don't. Is it though?
Well, it's not like "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." It's the one with the piano.
Yeah, I
You
can't
wanna
remember.
like look it up real quick?
Yeah, let's look it up. Here, I'll look it up while you keep going.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to like. This scene is better if we know what the song is called. Of course, you might not know what the song is. He's playing piano. He's got like this big white piano sitting out by his pool, and he's sitting there, and they're like, it doesn't seem like he really knows how to play. And they're like, okay, we want you to play us something like uplifting and inspiring. He's like, all right, this is a song by Britney
Okay,
Spears.
it's called Every Time.
And he plays Every Time by Britney Spears, and he plays it perfectly and starts singing it. And then there's a long montage. I think this is actually the scene where the wedding robbery happens. A long montage of them just like doing stuff.
And it's just the way it fades from them singing it to Britney Spears singing it, and then there's just it's really good.
Yeah.
It's like a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
And,
So then they're like, all right. So now we're winding down. They decide they got to get revenge for their girl getting shot. So this guy has got a shitload of guns at his house.
He does.
There was an earlier scene where he's like showing all his shit.
Big Archie. Oh yeah. Our Alien's pretty loaded.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of machine guns and like assault rifles
And this just kind of goes back to where he really, really doesn't seem like he wants to do it.
No.
First of all, he goes back to the piano and he's like playing, and he's like gonna kill my best friend, and he doesn't want to.
And we'll get to the character of Alien, but he even says some repetitious lines that suggest that he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do this? Or like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we gotta get to.
Yeah.
So they get some guns, they get their gats. The twins are there, and they're like getting body armor on and stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a big shootout. They don't show up for some
But they're
reason.
not there.
Yeah, they don't
holding
help.
a fort down or something.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. So they get on a boat, and I'm pretty sure they ripped this scene straight out of Miami Vice. In fact, this actually really reminded me of the. Did you see the newer Miami Vice?
I didn't see the new one, the Michael Mann one.
That one is
Colin
shot
Farrell.
similarly, like documentary style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, there are like some big time like comparisons
Was that
you can
good?
make.
I heard some.
It wasn't really. It was like really well made, but it wasn't a very fun movie.
Yeah,
it wasn't really that interesting. But Michael Mann does like some documentary style stuff
He
with
does.
that. Yeah. So like, but that boat scene, I mean, that was right at aesthetic is a big. I mean, this whole movie is basically aesthetic.
Yeah,
and it's like it's got like the pink neon while they're riding on the boat. So they get up there, they get on the dock. Alien goes first, instantly gets shot in the head and killed.
Yeah.
So he doesn't do anything. He starts running to the dock, gets shot and killed.
Yeah, and he's done.
And then the two chicks like just don't give a shit. Well, they do care a little bit. They run down the dock and kill everybody, all the guys with guns at the party. Then they go in there and Big Archie, who's been having like a threesome with these two like fat women.
Yeah, they're in a hot tub there.
Yeah, they go in there, they kill him. And then they were like, I guess they're just going to start running the drug empire from there on out.
Yeah, they say goodbye to Alien, and then that's kind of it.
That's a wrap, pretty much.
So, what did you think of Spring Breakers?
Man,
this is your second viewing of this one, right?
Yeah, I actually saw this in theaters before.
Right, you saw it in theaters.
And I didn't know. I hadn't even seen a trailer for this. I didn't even know what the fuck it was. I just knew that my girlfriend at the time wanted to see it. I was like, all right, let's see it. And I was like,
man,
I remember sitting in the theater and I was like, is this a...
Yeah, because you were in France.
Yeah. I was like, is this for real? Like, this movie got made and released to the general public? Because, like, it is not a movie for, like, an average person. Cause
did it have French subtitles when you watched it? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But, I mean, this is not the kind of mainstream movie at all. This is a very much an art house film. And, I mean, I'm shocked again. It did pretty well in theaters. Like, did like 30 million, which is not bad.
Which is really pretty good for a movie like that.
I mean, it was so... I mean, first of all, the entire film is shot... the word I want to call it is, like, documentary style, where it's like... First of all, there's almost music playing through every scene, and
it's very like music video-ish. It's
like music videos or commercial-ish,
maybe even kaleidoscopic.
Yeah, but I think the term is documentary style because like
it is,
and because it's like there are scenes, and it's almost like like you're not watching, like you're watching stuff that's going on, but you're not watching a movie.
No, and
you're just watching.
I think contributes to that feel is the script. It's almost seems like a very improvisational script in a lot of different scenes, and I'm sure they had a script, but a lot of the scenes are...
The music is almost always louder than the dialogue.
Yeah.
And a lot of scenes, the dialogue is like hard to hear. I wonder what kind of microphones they use, because it's almost like they're kind of far away, like it's not, a
but
film.
It almost seems like that's, intentional. It's just
I'm sure it was
like we're just following along these characters' lives. But so overall, like you liked it?
I loved it. I'm shocked at how much I loved it. I mean, I had some problems with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did too. I liked it a lot. I don't and this was a movie I don't know, I just didn't expect to like it. But so going in, I kind of had like, I don't want to say a negative outlook, but I was kind of like, I'm probably not going to like this. But I actually really enjoyed it. And it's like, it's sitting with, the more I think about it, the more I'm liking it. Like
it was very self-aware. I mean, the whole movie was about self-awareness. Yeah. I mean, it was basically making fun of like how ridiculous people act on spring break.
It absolutely was. Yeah, it was.
But I mean, there was just like the scene, like I said, the scene where the guy is like talking about taking food out of his baby's mouth. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah. The scene where they're playing the Britney Spears song.
That's the one. The humor in this movie was really good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that at all. Like I almost thought there'd be like a pretension to this movie, but
I mean, it was definitely pretentious. But I mean, I feel like he just did it so well. I mean,
yeah, he just did it so well that it's great.
I mean, if you're any way critical of like American culture with like in terms of young people, I mean, like there's a great scene when they're on the bus and like there's a lot of repetition, especially when she's like calling her grandma because it like repeats the phone call multiple times during the movie, and it's like always like it's like getting worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And it's like the first time she's like talking about like seeing new people and like exploring new places, and it like cuts to them like peeing on the side of the road.
Yeah, and it's just perfect juxtaposition with those. But so I don't know, what you want to get into the things. Let's get into the things we didn't like first, I guess.
Okay.
Since so what
I don't think that really. I think Selena Gomez probably did the best out of all the girls.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them gave very good performances. They didn't really need to.
So either. I mean, they weren't. They just weren't like developed well enough. And I think Selena Gomez, while she was developed the most, I still like. It almost just seemed like she didn't need to be in the movie, or like I don't know. She was kind of there, and they start establishing this theme of her as she's like the quote unquote good girl of the bunch. She's religious and I guess wants to go down to Miami or where St. Petersburg and have just a crazy experience. But and they keep juxtaposing her scenes and stuff with like religious. Memories that she has.
So she's like reading the Bible.
Yeah, but then she just kind of leaves and she doesn't come back into the movie. And
I
don't know if
that's the thing. Like her character was like supposed to serve as a foil, but first of all, she partied as hard as they did.
Yeah,
she didn't do as much of the stuff as they did.
She didn't, but she was hard partying for a while there, and that's the calls to her grandma were pretty much directly like it was almost like her calls to her grandma were like confessions.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a priest or something. Since she's so religious, like she'd call her grandma, but. Well, they weren't confessions though, because she was lying about what she was doing. But I guess
it was very ironic.
It was holding a mirror up to herself about she's kind of going against her convictions. But
going back to what you said, she literally just leaves. There's still a lot of the movie left when she leaves.
I mean, she's only in it for. I don't even think she's in it for half the movie.
It's probably right around half, maybe a little less than half.
Yeah, and she
just it's about a 2-hour
film.
And
she leaves, and she's not referenced again. And I don't know. It just. I thought she was okay when she was in it, but it just kind of seemed like, did she need to be in here? Like, I don't really know what that was trying to say.
Because in the beginning...
Because they didn't really get into, like, much of the religious stuff. It was kind of just... There were a few scenes of it and, like, callbacks to it and flashbacks, but I can't really say religion was, like, a big theme.
I think he just wanted to do some irony. This whole movie was irony.
Yeah, the whole
with,
movie
like, showing, like... the Bible and showing the study group, and then like it cuts to like her friends are like partying hard, and then they rob the place and burn the car. So it's like, I think he just wanted to get that in the film, and then he kind of threw her away as a character.
I think that's pretty much what he did. And I guess you can kind of respect that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I just don't know that. I don't know that was executed properly. Like, I'm okay with it. It's not a huge deal for me, but I'm kind of like,
yeah,
it wasn't quite handled perfectly.
And the other thing is, it's almost like she was the most developed character. She also had like the most lines, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like the other three were really like indistinguishable from each other.
Yeah, the other three were pretty much just the same variation of each other. Like that's what, if you're going to grab on to any of those characters and for the first half of the movie, it's Selena Gomez's character.
Yeah.
And I thought she actually did a better job than I thought she would too. Like she was good in the movie. But then it's kind of like once she's gone, you just have these three characters and it's not even that I think they did a bad job. It's just there's no development. Like
like Vanessa Hudgens' character, like I didn't know a single thing about her.
No,
nothing happened. Like there was literally like nothing specific that happened to her. Like the one Ashley Benson's character was kind of like the leader a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the other girl gets shot in the arm.
Yeah, that
but
was
it's like
her thing.
Vanessa Hudgens, she doesn't even have a thing in the movie.
No, she doesn't have a thing. And it's like, I guess their thing is they're just sort of like badasses that don't care. And I mean, I get that. And I think it's not that I think they handled those elements poorly, but I just didn't really, there's nothing to grab onto with those characters.
Like they were just there to progress the plot, which of course this was not a plot-driven film.
No, not at all.
Which is funny because I mean, really, once Selena Gomez's character leaves, even though there's no main characters in this, it doesn't like follow a character at all.
Ironically, though, or not necessarily ironically, I think I actually liked once Selena Gomez was gone. I think that was my favorite part of the movie because then James Franco.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like, then it started following Alien, and it was really his movie from that point on.
Yeah.
Even though it was still about the Spring Breakers, but it was his film, and almost like switched protagonists. And it's like the other girls were just like there along for the ride.
Yeah,
even though they come out in the end on top. But really, that's what was my favorite part of the film was when it was following James Franco.
Yeah, and
he was really good.
He was really good in this. Like he's fantastic.
I thought he gave like a really well a performance that was like really funny, but also had a lot of emotional depth.
It did. I mean, he was fantastic. He was funny. He was like, you believed him as this like ridiculous, almost
bigger than life, maybe
larger than life gangster like guy down in Florida, and it just I thought he did a fantastic job. Like he had, and I guess with him like he repeated so many lines, and I wrote down some of them.
I think it was something like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Or are you sure we're gonna do this?"
Yeah, near the end of the movie, and I think that's his character really was like. I guess really a sensitive soul.
Yeah, like I think his character had a lot of emotional depth. I thought he was like an identifiable, sympathizable character.
He was.
I sympathize with him. Like he was like sitting at the piano and he kept saying, "Gonna kill my best friend." He obviously didn't want to do it.
Yeah, and even when he interacts with Big Archie, they meet at the club and they kind of have this showdown. He even says like, "Man, you were my best friend." Like,
he's like, "Yeah, you took me to the beach. Then I taught you how to swim and stuff like that."
I know. Like they have these intense, he's this intense, sensitive driven person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought he was fantastic. And he was just hilarious. Like it was a great comic performance. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
When he's
he
on
was
that
really
bed,
funny.
He said, "Look at all my shit. Look at all my shit." Like
he's pretty.
He's just gesturing to his like his.
Yeah, he's got like shurikens.
Yeah. What? He's like, these are my nunchucks on the wall here, and I got like.
Yeah, he has a ton of shit.
Yeah.
He definitely has a lot of shit. What else? Is there anything else we did? I feel like some of the scenes with like the spring break partying, I feel like they went on a little too long.
Yeah, I think that was my problem with the first half of the movie is it started to get a little repetitive for me. Like it's like after a while it was just like one party scene after another, and they keep cutting back to that initial montage.
Yeah.
There's an initial probably like 3 or 4 minute montage scene of just random people partying on the beach.
Yeah.
Like going crazy, and they keep cutting back to that. And I felt like the first half of the movie it just started to get a little repetitive with the partying, but as soon as James Franco comes into it and they just start going on crazy streaks, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like ultimately this movie was like just about the visuals and the.
I mean, I actually was like reading it. He said he wanted to create like a sensory experience, and he did for sure. I mean, I can tell you, I'm not normally like this. Like, this is a movie seeing in theaters is a different experience.
Yeah,
it's better. Like, it's like it's louder, it's dark, it's a better experience in theaters. Because I mean, he really, he used all of the visuals. I mean, the music is almost always overpowering the dialogue.
Yeah,
you got the repetition constantly. It's like. The film is like the scenes are constantly cutting back and forth, so it's like it's hard to follow on purpose.
Yeah,
it's very, very non-linear.
And there's something interesting to look at in every scene.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm a sucker for neon.
Oh yeah, this movie has got aesthetic written all over it.
It really does. Like I'm a sucker for those kinds of visuals, and when you see like that purple bridge, and there's all kinds of different really cool set pieces that they use, and I was on board fully. And it's like the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm liking it. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Like, well, seeing it for my second time made me appreciate a lot of stuff a lot more.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I got on here.
Yeah, what else you got?
Let's start talking about some stuff we liked. Obviously, we're talking about a lot of stuff we liked. James Franco's performance was amazing. There was a lot of good visuals. The editing was really amazing. I mean, to edit a film like this must have been tough.
Yeah, it really.
Let's see here. Oh, there was a lot of good foreshadowing. Did you see there was one scene where he's like, it shows like his bloody hand holding a gun, and it was like before they met him, I think, or right when they first met him. Yeah, there was, and he was like saying like, I think something bad's gonna happen. Yeah. There was a lot of good foreshadowing in this.
There was, and like the dialogue was pretty sparse throughout the movie, but it was either like important repetitious dialogue, or it was just like them just having like naturalistic conversations with one another, and I thought it worked really well. Like, and it didn't seem. It's a very artsy movie, but it didn't seem like it was trying to be, or maybe it just worked. I don't know. It just worked.
I think it was.
It didn't feel like it was trying too hard. Like everything felt natural in the movie for me, which I thought was just really well done.
I mean, there were some scenes, I feel like the way he did it, you could have pulled it straight out of like a really well-done crime drama. I'm trying to think like a Michael Mann film. And I think that a scene I really liked, I'm not sure if I would compare it to Michael Mann necessarily, was when they're robbing the chicken place the first time, and it's like it's showing the stuff going on through the windows.
Yeah, that was
they're
a
in the
great
car.
scene.
That was so well shot.
Yeah, that was a great. It almost reminded me like Brian De Palma or something.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just like
like for like a
like Carlito's Way or something, where it's like there's a moving set piece and the action is going on.
Yeah, and he's obviously like a master of crime drama. This is, I mean, there was a lot of great crime drama stuff from this.
Yeah,
just like when they're in the boat, that was really good.
And even just the way they like. By keeping things simple dialogue-wise, they just and based on the visuals and how the looks they give each other, they set things up really well. Like the rivalry between the two, between Alien and Big Archie, is just like it didn't need any complicated dialogue. Like it didn't need anything complicated. It's set up almost immediately. Like they're in the bar, they flash to him. There's a brief explanation of who he is, and it's just based on the performances and the direction. It's just that's established. Like you get it, and it just works. Like they didn't need anything overly complicated to develop that, and it's not even like a revolutionary plot point. I mean, it's just two rival drug dealers, but it just works because of the simplicity and the visuals and the direction. Like it just flows really well.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Like when you're talking about the dialogue being like so little of it, like it's just like it's so good because it like progresses. Like when she's doing the phone call to grandma, it's like every time it's like they're in a worse situation, and then finally it's to the point where she's getting ready to leave because they just got arrested.
Yeah,
and then at the end it's like they're saying like spring break forever, and it's like,
that's another line that's constantly repeated: is spring break. James Franco says it. Everybody says it. It's just spring break, spring break. Like it's continually repeated.
And they're like whispering spring break forever. They say that throughout the film, and it's like the first time they're like in the pool at the hotel, they're loving it. At the end, they're like they just killed like 10 people.
Yeah,
and I really like that whole idea at the end where it's like, first of all, he's like, he basically says he fucking hates spring breakers. They're the real scum. Yeah, and it's funny because it ends up the 2 girls end up killing everybody basically.
Yeah, and they're spring breakers.
And not only that, but I like the idea. It's like normal people, their spring break is over. They move on with their lives, and these 2 girls were just like still.
Oh, they're there to stay.
Yeah, they're there to stay. They're like the new.
They're taking over.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know. Very good movie.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
I feel like, man, we should have done this one first.
I know, yeah. But Beyond the Gates should have just been the afterthought here.
Man,
I'm trying to think.
There's so much good.
There's so much to say.
It was a long film. I mean,
yeah.
There was like a line about being a good person, and I think they repeated that at the end when they just killed all these people.
Yeah, that's another theme in this movie is being a good person, and I think it's.
And finding yourself. That's another thing they repeat.
Finding yourself was a really big one. They continually repeat, like, we came here to find ourselves. And
they found out that they're murderers.
Well, and I guess it kind of reflects the group, too. Like, Selena Gomez, I guess, found out who she was. And I guess maybe that's why she left. And
she wasn't
the other girl wasn't quite cut out for it either. And I guess the other 2 girls found themselves, too. And their path in life was to be drug dealer, people down in Florida. Like, that's what they were meant to do, clearly. Because they just have no remorse about mowing down a whole compound full of heavily armed guys. Like,
yeah, I mean, I definitely think if you want to look at this movie as taking like a huge shit on spring break culture in general, it does.
Yeah, it really does.
And the sad part is I don't want to sound like a pretentious douche, but it's like you could watch this film and just be like, oh yeah, spring break is cool.
Yeah,
like that's a fun movie, but really it's basically saying like if this is how you act, like you're a fucking tool bag.
Yeah, I mean you could definitely watch this movie and just be like, oh, like there's some sick party scenes. And
oh, that's cool. That's funny at the end. They're killing people, but really it's like this is like taking a huge shit on this culture in general.
It absolutely is, and I think it's very successful at doing it.
I mean. There's just like so many good party scenes where they're just like the people there look so stupid and it's like they're so fucked up. Yeah. Like they're like snorting coke off a girl that's like asleep.
Yeah, pretty much. And all the party scenes, it's like what ridiculous stuff can we just throw in here to one up the last party scene that we just showed? Like,
and I really like when they get arrested. It's really an abrupt like cut to that. It's like they're having this crazy party, and then it's like all of a sudden they're sitting outside the cop car, like, oh shit, we're fucked.
Yeah, and there's no more of that like modern music playing. It's kinda, like, cuts to the harsh reality of what the situation they're in. I think it does that very well.
Yeah, too. Like it's like very cold, and it's not warm anymore. It's not fun. It's like this is reality. You're back, and then of course Alien pulls them out of that, and then he takes them even deeper into. Yeah, spring break culture, because those parties he takes them to, I guess it's just like mostly one.
I know
it's pretty.
it's like that. This is how we party down here most of the year. Yeah, when spring break's not going on.
And I mean, they're like they got guys literally their pants are around their ankles. I mean, they're like playing dice.
Yeah,
they're like got the guy in the street on the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, they're just they're not messing around.
I actually wonder if they were foreshadowing to that. Because she's watching a Kimbo Slice video on YouTube.
I noticed that. I had that written down. Yeah, she's watching a Kimbo Slice like backyard brawl video on her phone.
So it's almost like that's who she is.
Yeah,
she
like that's
the trashiness.
Yeah, and it is the 2 girls that Benson and the other one,
Vanessa Hudgens.
Become, it's those 2 that are watching it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, what else do we got?
I mean, this entire film, I guess you could describe as like very atmospheric.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the atmosphere. I mean, I do think there were points where I was like, it dragged, mostly in that first half.
Yeah.
Where it was just.
I think the second half is definitely stronger than the first half. The first half.
You don't. First of all, I think you really don't know what's going to go on.
Well, I think the issue too is I don't. Because I never truly connected with any of the 4 female leads too much, or besides maybe Selena Gomez, it just got to a point where I was kind of like, please, I hope they start developing them more.
Yeah.
And I guess
like
before
gonna happen?
It wears out its welcome and starts to really become a problem, then then Selena Gomez leaves and Alien is introduced, and they have this new like path forward in the movie. So it doesn't really ever get to a point where I'm like, I'm out of the movie or anything. But I definitely think the second half is much stronger than the first.
I think it was just there wasn't really much of a plot at all in the first half.
No,
that was part of the problem. Is like he got away with it for a while, and then it was like, all right, we need something needs to happen.
Something needs,
and
to
it
happen.
did. And then you brought Alien in, and he was just amazing. I mean, I almost feel like he should have gotten like recognition for his role because
I think he could have gotten an Oscar nom for it. I definitely think.
I mean, we watch a lot of films, and I mean, he was fucking good in that role.
He was great in it. Yeah, from an acting perspective, like he was fantastic. Like I believed him in that character, and it didn't. It's so hard to play a character like that, especially if you're a known star like James Franco, and not seem like you're like parodying something.
Exactly.
And he was a ridiculous looking character, but he manages to overcome his appearance and make that character relatable, like likable.
Like the idea, also, like this, he's got like the grill, the dreadlocks, he looks fucking ridiculous.
The sunglasses, he wears like Hawaiian shirts, and like he has tattoos all over, and he's like, and the fact that you can make that guy into a relatable, likable, character filled with depth and a interesting backstory. Yeah, I think it's a great job on his part, and it almost reminded me of like, in a way of did you ever see True Romance? Gary Oldman's character in that. He was like this obviously James Franco was a much more developed character, so he was better. But it kind of reminded me of Gary Oldman plays, I can't remember his name, but he's like this dreadlock guy, and Gary Oldman was great in that part too. And it's just playing a character like that looks so over the top and just managing to own it is really, really hard. Yeah,
I mean, when you look like that, I mean, and he's James Franco, he's not. At that point,
James Franco, it would have been easier if he's just some guy that you don't know, but you know who this guy is. Like you're thinking about past roles that he's been in, and he just manages to subvert all that. And that was probably my favorite part of the movie. Was his performance,
especially considering it was a direction and editing and cinematography. They all drove the film, but then James Franco still stood out with his performance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, excellent movie. Any final thoughts on this thing? Or?
I mean, I feel like there's more we can be said. Let me look and see if
you got
anything else. I mean, there's just tons of great juxtaposition. We talked about that. The foreshadowing.
I kind of want to watch it again. It's honestly a movie that I feel like you can watch a lot of different times and get different things out of it. Like
I definitely enjoyed it on my second viewing more.
Yeah, I think for me it was like a lot of it was just taking in the visuals, taking in the visceral nature of it, and it was really, really good.
I mean,
I was along for the ride.
Yeah. I mean, with a film like this, you put it in theaters, and it's like, you can't have this kind of repetition in a regular movie and get away with it, because people are like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much repetition, and it worked well.
It works really well. And it's like, in that kind of thing is so easy to fall victim to, like, overly pretentious.
Yeah.
And, like, just like, what is this? But the way it does it just works, and, like, I think it almost added a lot of it added like a somber tone to it too.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like where you've got like the upbeat music playing, but it's also on this on another level depressing.
Yeah. Like everything about this movie like clashes. It's like two different aspects of things going.
Yeah, especially with like the Britney Spears playing when they're like he's like shoving the guy's face in the wedding cake and they're like robbing the wedding with guns. I mean. It just works so well.
Yeah, it works as juxtaposition, but it also works in like even in relation to the song because they're enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly.
A good time doing it, so it works on just multiple different levels. So I don't know.
I think we could just like give our scores.
Yeah, what are you gonna give this thing out of 10?
I think I gotta give this a 9 out of 10.
Ooh, that is weighty. Yeah. I need to watch it again. I think right now I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I really, really enjoyed it.
I mean, this time it really it almost floored me. I mean, it was close. Yeah. Maybe I would have adjusted like an 8.5, but I think I'll stick with a 9.
A sign of a really good movie is a movie you want to watch again.
Yeah.
I see a lot of movies that even though I like the movie, I'm like, I don't really need to see that again. But this is a movie I feel like I could watch again and get a ton out of.
Yeah, there are a lot of scenes I want to go back and watch it because I like them so much.
And that's the thing, so many individual scenes stand out too. Like I already like when I go home, I'm gonna watch that Britney Spears scene.
Yeah, it was so good.
I'm looking that up on my phone and I'm gonna watch it because it's freaking amazing. Like there's just so many individual standout scenes and just great visuals.
Oh yeah.
All right, yeah, so that is it for Spring Breakers. So for our last segment here, what are we thinking?
Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got on the schedule. All right. So it looks like we have Jack Nicholson in the studio for a few minutes.
Hello?
How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing fine. Jack, I actually wanted to ask you about something specific. Jack, don't look at me like that.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Have you heard about this Tom Brady concussion thing?
Oh, Thomas Brady. Yeah, he's been doing a lot with the whole football thing, right?
Yeah, apparently it came in the news that his wife said he had a lot of concussions last season, and he was never put on the injury list for it, and it's creating some controversy because, if he was hiding concussions, that's a big deal. So how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, it's a hell of a sport, football. You get a lot of different concussions and knocking the shit out of everybody. I just watch it and I say, this ain't reality TV. Yeah, but
I mean, that's a very good insight, Jack. I'm
Yeah, concussions are bad, but the thing about football is you got to be tough to play it, and these guys make a lot of money to do it. You know what?
That's true. Tom Brady makes a lot of money, Jack. Maybe you made more than him. I don't know.
I don't know. I got a pretty fat paycheck from The Departed, that's for sure.
That was a very good film you were in.
Yeah.
Is that all the time we have for Jack? I think that's all the time we have.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
All right, have a good one, Jack.
All right, everybody. This has been a great day at the Serious Film Critics, so thank you for joining our show. We are very happy to have you. We are on social media, so make sure to follow us on Twitter.
On Facebook.
And Facebook. It's Serious_Critics. We will be posting on there very, very often.
I think on Facebook we're just the Serious Film Critics.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can find us. We have a lot of fans.
And we do. We have a lot of fans. And also send us your emails to seriousfilmcritics@gmail.com. Just one word, Serious Film Critics. We will take your emails. You can email us about movies, obviously. Versus fights, if you want to email us. Just email us about anything. We'll probably answer your questions. Workout routines. We're experts on working out. Just send any questions your way, and maybe they'll get on the show if we feel like it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dave. It's been an awesome night here, and we will catch you next time.